Hi, I'm Phil from Delphi. Now, we get asked here at Delphi, what is EV battery testing and what is it all about? And more importantly, as a garage or a technician, what can you do about it? So I'm here today to talk about the 7 categories of EV battery testing and which ones are available through the EOBD port. So let's get into them. There are 3 categories of voltage when it comes to testing, and which one is to be done kind of depends on the configuration of the cells in the battery. But as they're all voltage, we have static voltage, which is just simply reading the battery voltage without any load at all. The second one we have is light load, where we apply a very light load, typically under 10 kilowatt, and this would be stuff like the heated rear screen, the headlights, the PTC heater, very, very light items which apply a very small load to the battery. The third one is a heavy load. Normally consists of a driving cycle where you would have some acceleration and deceleration to really pull potentially hundreds of kilowatt from the battery and kind of view how the voltage behaves during those tests. The fourth category moves away from voltage and it comes to capacity. Now, mostly capacity is measured in what we call amp hour. So what we do in a capacity test is we would potentially drain the battery, refill it back up, and see how much electricity was allowed to go back into the battery. If we had a 100 kilowatt hour battery to start with, and then when we refilled it, only 90 kilowatt hour went in, then we would have a capacity health of 90%. This is a good way, but the problem is it can take a little bit of time, especially with large electric vehicle batteries. So we've got voltage, the 3 layers. We've got the capacity. Next, we want to move on to thermal. The thermal management system is so important in an electric car battery. We have cooling system, but also we have the AC plates, depending on early examples of Renault Zoe and BMW 3 Series Hybrid, that used air conditioning systems to cool that battery. We also have a pressure test. Now, what does this mean? Well, the battery itself is fairly sealed, other than a few vent holes. So one of the tests is to fill the inside of the battery with air, and it's normally compressed air at a very, very low pressure. And this is just to make sure that we have no leaks in the casing where we could get air or water ingress into the battery. The last one is inspection, and now this is a visual inspection. Generally, we only do this during battery refurbishment, and this is where we inspect the bus bars, we inspect the cells themselves and the packs and the modules for any signs of damage, corrosion, and that corrosion especially on the high voltage bus bars, as that can cause a high resistance and ultimately lead to a voltage drop and extra heat. So a quick recap, we have our 7 categories. The first 3 are voltage, the 4th one is capacity, we then have a thermal test as the 5th, the 6th one is a pressure test, and the 7th one is a physical visual inspection. Now, what's available in the diagnostic tool? Well, with your DS480, you'll be able to access what we call the OEM test. Now, different manufacturers will pick different ways of testing the battery. If we take Nissan, for example, they'll do a category 2 test, which is light load, but measuring voltage. Other brands, such as Volkswagen or Polestar, they normally do a static voltage, that's a category 1 check, and compare that across the pack. The vehicle behind me is a Tesla. Their health check that you can activate from the screen relies more on a category 4, which is that capacity test. Drain the battery, fill it back up, and display a state of health on the screen. So I hope that's taken you through a little bit of battery EV health testing. Remember that a lot of the OE tests can be run from your Delphi diagnostic tool. Simply go to the battery and go for state of health, and you can find it in our new quick find menu. Well, thanks for watching. For more videos, why not follow us on social media or visit the Masters of Motion online hub. And for more expert-led courses, then check out the Delphi Academy. See you next time.